Welcome all of you. Today I'm going to start with a little game and see if you could guess who I am, okay? So I'm going to say these words and try to think, who do you think I am? Okay. I'm lazy. I'm always impatient. I'm very greedy. I always like to gossip. I like lots of women. I like lots of men. I'm full of pride. I like saying bad words to people. I like to eat a lot, too much. I like telling people what to do. I like ordering people. I like to drink a lot. I like being lazy. I like lots of women. Guess who do you think I am? I'm your future spouse. I'm your boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend. Because if you think you're going to marry someone who is a saint, someone who is full of great virtue, you're deceiving yourself. I don't care, the most virtuous people, the most holiest virtue, they have terrible desires every day. And they have weaknesses. And most of all of us have vices and defects in us. And if you think you're marrying someone, their name might be Angel. Her name might be Ankela, means another angel. Well, they're not the holy angels you think. They could be angels in disguise like devils. You're marrying a sinner. I'm a sinner. You can call Father Stephen is holy, but if you know me well, you know I'm anything but holy. I need a lot of prayers, and I need a lot of help. So I ask you to remember, you're going to marry a sinner. And if you think, well, he's so kind, Father, he's sweet, you don't know who he is. He never yells. He's a beautiful character. She's so warm. She never yells at me. She's always kind. Oh, are you deceiving yourself? I want to see your faces about 2 to 3 years after you're married. Oh, you're going to be horribly surprised. Because if you think this is going to continue, you might as well give your ring back right now, because it's not going to continue. It's not going to continue if God is not in your life. Because this is only a human love. And if you think that Jesus says, if you build a house on sand, when rains come and winds come, your house is falling down. My house is falling down, and it's going to crush me. But if you build your house on concrete, on stone, it will have strength to weather the storms. And that means if both of you are on your knees every day and praying and begging God, that love of God will kick in. You know, sometimes there's floods in basements, but if people are smart, they get these machines called water pumps. And when it starts flooding, the pumps kick out the water and doesn't let the house flood. But when there's no floods, they don't need it. So my point is, there's going to be floods of temptations, floods of attacks of the devil. And if you don't have anything to kick out that poison that's attacking the greed, the selfishness, the lust, what are you going to do? You're going to be up to your neck in sin and vice. But if you're praying, and there's divine love there, there's communion, there's confession, there's the Holy Word, then you're going to be pumping out all this garbage and poison, toxic stuff that comes in from the street and from the sewers that will destroy your house. And will destroy your souls, because you're only keeping it alive by human love. Houses right now, when people sell homes, they look beautiful, they paint them, they look nice. But if there's wrong in the foundation, the first flood comes, your house is going to be destroyed. So everything looks nice, you're going to marry them, they're sweet, they're kind. Let a tragedy, let suffering, let a trial come in, and let's see how they're going to resist. If that machine doesn't kick on, all hell will break loose. And if that person is not used to praying and asking God for help and for his power, let me see a human being try to practice love where they're unselfish, where they're forgiving, where they're merciful, when they're full of incredible charity, incredible humility, and they haven't been doing it before. All poison is going to come out. And that's what happens, because I see most people are married 98%, 99, they always love each other. And that's one big reason you're supposed to love, to get married, because you love the person. Very few people, and there are people who love people, but they usually want to marry them for their money, for an easy lifestyle. They like the things, well, he's going to buy me a lot of stuff, we don't have to fight for money. And for their own advantage, they marry him, but not really because they love them. Because they're lonely, they have no one else, so they just marry this person because they didn't think they could get a better life. And that's not a good reason to marry them. You marry them because one big reason, you love them. But what is happening wrong, if I'm wrong in what I'm telling you, and if you agree with me, everybody who marries at the beginning is love each other, well, why is there so unbelievable divorces? To find someone to marry 10 years happily is unbelievable. I want to find them like I find a $50 bill, a $20 bill, a $10 bill would be easier to find. That finds that, yeah, we've been married 10 years now. We're extremely happy and we love each other. You know, most other families you could go through, every block, there's the majority on that block are divorced. And the ones who are married are living in hell. They want to get divorced, and they're on the point of doing suicide, they're all drinking, and they're on drugs, and they're full of depression. But all of them have beautiful marriage pictures where they're all smiling and they're happy. And they love each other. Because it was only a human love. It wasn't a divine love. And there's nothing wrong with the human love. But if you don't have a divine love along with that, then it's not going to be a holy marriage. That means both people who love God and want to serve God with all their hearts, soul, and minds. So we have to really think your future spouse wants to love God, otherwise get rid of them as if they were going to give you AIDS or the plague. Get away from them. I know two girls, when I had been a priest 15 years, they came with me less than a month before they got married. Said, Father, I'm sorry to tell you, but I have to cancel my wedding. Don't worry. You can keep the deposit. Because I said, well, why are you leaving him? Well, I knew him for 2 years, but the last 6 months, he's been talking to me disrespectful. He's been going to church. And I could say, my God, I'm not even married with him. Imagine when I'm married with him, what he's going to do to me. And they said, people are going to yell at him and say, you know how much money cost us for this banquet hall? We lost money. We sent invitations. People bought presents for us. I have to write letters. I'm sorry. But I'm going to be much more sorry if I marry this person just because, well, I already made the decision in being married. No, you're not married until the day you have the ring on you, and that's until you die. So you look at your spouse, and if they don't love you and respect you and go to church, they don't want to share their faith with you and live their faith, you are the foolishest, most blindest, and most sorriest person I will ever know on earth. Oh, are you going to pay, or are you going to suffer? You may not believe in heaven, but I know you will believe in hell, because you will be living it like you could never believe someone could suffer. And look at the matrimonies. Hell on earth. People commit suicide, people killing each other in marriages. Incredible unfaithfulness, incredible anger and resentment. Because they both loved each other only humanly and nothing with God. And so I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you the truth. You go outside and it's raining out there, you're going to get soaked. If you go out by a fire, you're going to get burnt. If you try to marry someone and love them for 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 years, day in and day out, for hours and hours, and you're both guys are not in love with God and try to serve God, oh, you're going to find a hell to live with someone every day. Because both of you are going to be so selfish and so full of pride, you're going to rip each other apart like cats and dogs. If you have God, you will have incredible joy, incredible happiness in your life. I'm telling you this because I want you to be happy. I want you to do and marry to someone that God wants you. So you marry someone because it's God's will. You don't knock on my door or any other priest's door and say, Father, I'm going to get married. I said, well, we have to pray it's God's will. Well, of course it's God's will. Well, we don't know that until you're married. Then we really know for sure. Well, Father, I love her. That's extremely important, but that's not the only thing. You know what? If I don't watch myself, I'm not kidding you, I know myself. I could fall in love with a girl probably every month. Girls are so pretty and beautiful and sweet. I don't know, I could fall in love with one if I don't watch my eyes and my heart, I could easily fall in love with them. Humanly, I could not to keep that on my mind because I can't stop thinking how pretty she is, how sweet she is, how happy I feel in her presence. I'm falling in love with her. The more I talk to her, that's a human love. So I gotta watch my heart. I'm in love with Jesus. I'm consecrated. I love God. So I have to remember that my love is a decision, not a feeling. I've consecrated myself to God. I don't look at women. I don't even try to think that I'm going to have a future with them. Because my joy, my happiness is with my Jesus. And I am very fully happy and joyful because Jesus gave me a great, beautiful vocation of a priest. And you can offer all the women in the world with all their beauty and all their love. But I picked Jesus because he called me to do that, to be his priest and give myself to bring others to heaven. And there's no other joy in my life than Jesus because I promised myself with Jesus. But I could fall out of love with Jesus if I don't talk to him, if I don't continue to communicate with him, if I don't beg him for his help. I could easily get bored and sad and lonely. And then my desires of my human flesh could want to feed my pleasure, my body, and my human loneliness. And then I could just live like almost an animal and use and abuse girls for my own pleasure. If I don't stay close to Jesus, all my life I could commit scandal and evil. And if you don't stay close to Jesus, you will not love your spouse. You may love them now, that's a human love, but you need divine love. That means that it's God's will. Why am I supposed to marry that person? You should say, I'm marrying that person because I love them and it's God's will. I have peace and joy. Most people get married because they just only feel like they're in love, because it's not God's will, because they want to do it because I like him, I like her, I want this. It's I. It is not, I think God wants me. This person is a person that is very kind and full of love. This person loves God. This person wants to serve God. And this person with me wants to share a life with me, so we both love God. And to lead this person to heaven. I want to get married because I want to lead this person to heaven. Imagine if I was single, I want a nice job so I could get some clothes for my wife and have a nice little humble house. And maybe, thank God, have some children with her. And to love her and give her nice things. But the best thing I'll do for my wife is to bring her to heaven for she can live forever and ever. Here never is going to be a full happiness. There's through pains and suffering and justice, and then comes death. So this life is very short and never truly happy. And yes, we're only with God, and only a true happiness is when we go back to God. So the greatest joy I can give in my life is to teach her to be holy and bring her towards heaven through love and a good example, and being kind to her, and being humble towards her, and towards him, if he's my spouse or my future spouse. So we must want to marry someone to bring them towards heaven. If we both need the same ideas of faith, if one does this, it's not going to happen. If I'm riding a bike and it's two persons riding the bike, I'm riding really hard and slow because no one's helping me pedal. I need two people riding the bike. If I'm trying to love God, I want to serve God, but my husband doesn't, oh, am I going to suffer? You need to tell him that these are the things that he should do. If he doesn't want to love you and want to serve God, he's not worth nothing. He's going to use you and abuse you. I'm speaking myself, I'm a man. Yes, I'm a priest, I'm a man. And I tell you that this man is not holy. If he does not want to serve God, and serve God, if he serves God, he serves you. The more he loves God, the more he loves you. If she loves God, she loves you. Otherwise, it's a selfishness. What you give me pleasure. No. We serve God the way we love our spouses the way we love God. I want to get married because I want my spouse to be a saint. Because the more you're a saint, the more it's holy. If you're a saint, that means you're humble. You're charitable. You're pure. You're forgiving. You're very, very charitable. You're very sweet. You're very gentle. You're very courageous. You have so much faith. You console me. Oh, what a beautiful person to live with. Even saints commit sin, but the more holy you are, how much more you will help me. And the more happy you will be. So I want to be a saint. Because the more I can be a saint, I can love you more and serve you more and lead you more to God. So I want us both to be saints to glorify God, to bring souls to heaven. And God gives us children to bring them to heaven. I'm happy. I'm here because I want to suffer. If you don't want to, I ask many people before they get married, you love Raphael? You love Josefa? Yes, I do. And then you say, I want to suffer for Josefa. I want to suffer for Raphael. Because if you don't want to suffer, don't you marry them. Because you ask anybody who's been married over 5 years, and they will tell you, I suffer a lot for them. Because they got defects. I put up a lot. Oh, how many times I have to forgive them every week. How many times I have to pardon them. How many times I have to be merciful to them. How many times I have to bite my tongue not to say things. How many times I got to give up my will. Oh, my good Lord, are you going to have to suffer? If you don't want to suffer for them, you better not marry them. Because Jesus died on the cross for us. And all he did is suffer for us. If you say you love someone and you don't suffer for them, you don't love them. And you better stay in love with them. That means you need God constantly in your life. Otherwise, you won't suffer with them. Because you're going to get bored with them, and you're not going to have the emotional joy with them. And love is an act of your will. It's a decision. It's not, well, I feel like loving her. She looks pretty to me. She turns me on. He makes me happy. No. My will is that I'm supposed to be kind. I cook his meal. I smile at him. And I talk to him with humility. No matter how he's acting towards me. You tell them how you feel with love and respect. But you do not yell or be disrespectful or not love them because you don't feel like love or you don't feel like you're getting the love for them. You need God in your life. And love is hard. Love of God is very hard. But with God said, all things are possible with me. With two people working to love God, you're going to have a happy marriage. An extremely happy marriage. But if one or none is trying, this is going to be a devastation like you never met. A devastation of all devastations. You're married because you want to have children. Please. You might never have been told that, so not at all it's a sin or not at all it's your responsibility. People who use things called contraceptives, that means things to not have children. They may take pills to prevent children to come. They might have injections. They might put things in their body. They might have operations. They might say when we have intimacy, my spouse doesn't put a seed in me. Those are all very, very grave sins. And it will destroy your matrimony. It will make your matrimony like prostitutes. Two prostitutes using each other. One for sex, the other for money. One guy uses the girl for money, and the other just for sex. And the same thing is going on through contraceptives. If you contraceptives, he uses you for sex, and you use him solo for your food, your clothes, and maybe try to take your loneliness. You never use contraceptives. It was a great sin. And we read in the Catechism, it says those who use contraceptives commit a grave sin, and they will lose their souls if they don't repent. If you know, if a priest, if a bishop, if a cardinal tells you to use contraceptives, pray for them, but don't listen to them, because they don't teach you what the Catholic Church teaches. The Pope tells us, our church teaches for 2,000 years. There's no one in the church who teaches the church teaching, the doctrine, that you can use contraceptives. If a priest tells you that, pray for him, because he's poisoning and saying very evil things. Don't judge him. Don't judge anyone. But what he says, judge is wrong and evil, and he's making a big mistake. And say, Father, where does it say that? And Father, if you continue to tell people like that, I'm going to have to tell the bishop, your cardinal, so he can't continue to poison people. You never listen to anyone. If a deacon or anyone tells you, you never use contraceptives. It is a grave, grave sin that you don't ever want to do. Please don't do that. The church says you could use natural family planning. That means that once a week, every month, a girl is fertile. It means that she has an egg and ovulating, and when she ovulates, if she has intimacy at that week, she could get pregnant. Not 100% sure, but there's a good chance. But if she has no egg and she has intimacy, then she can't have the children. And so 3 weeks every month, you would be able to have intimacy and space your children for serious reasons. You could do that. But you should never use any other way. Any other way is a grave sin. Don't use any operations for men or women or any doctors. The doctors are trying to poison. My sister, she was pregnant, and the doctor was a Catholic doctor, and he says, took a test, a blood test, and your baby's very ill. I don't want to tell you what to do, but you have the rights, it's legal to abort your baby. She was telling her to kill her child. Many doctors say, you're pregnant, and you're 40 years old. Your baby could become born with an illness called Down syndrome. And if baby does live, it will be very sick. So if you want to abort, and you're going to die because you had 2 cesarean sections, if you have this baby, you could die. So they frighten the girls, and they look at the doctor like a god and think that he's speaking the truth and he has all this wisdom. But he doesn't have no morals and values, and he's telling them to do something very evil. You can never do evil for something good. And these doctors are telling people to murder the babies because they're going to be sick or they're going to die. Even if that was true, that's a baby, we don't murder it. There's never a solution, violence and death. Thou shalt not kill. And many times these doctors don't know what they're talking about, and these babies are beautiful. There's so many mothers who show me their beautiful babies and told me the doctors told them to abort the baby because it was going to be sick or dead. And don't let the doctors say, I will do you a favor. I will tie your tubes or give your husband an operation. Never. That's total disrespect. We're not cats or dogs. We're not animals. We do that to a dog or a cat or an animal. We are children of God. I never knew that someone was fertile. It was a punishment, or it was unfortunate. It's a blessing, it says in the Bible. Jesus said, "Be multiply and be fruitful." But he does not talk about money and things. Your family will attack you. Jesus says in the Bible, they'll persecute you. You have so many kids. How dumb you are. Aren't you responsible? Why don't you use some kind of protection? Well, you tell them this if they tell you that. They say that I'm using a good protection. What kind of protection you use? This is what? You know, any protection you use that will put you in hell is not safe sex. Let me repeat that. If you say, well, Father, I'm using contraceptives. I'm doing fine. I'm not going to get any diseases. Well, I'm going to ask you a thing. To do this immoral act, do you know that's immoral? Do you know that you could go to hell with that? That puts you in hell? That's not too safe to me. So there was a man called Odom. He was in the Bible, and he didn't want to have a child with his wife. So he took his seed out of her before he committed the act of sex, and he was struck by lightning and died. And this sin was called odonism. And it was always condemned. Contraceptives from the beginning is against nature. It's a grave sin. The whole world is poison. It's on TV, it's on radio, it's everywhere, it's on doctors. We priests need to tell you. We need to tell you never use contraceptives. If your spouse wants you to do that, you tell them no. The poor woman, they have no strength, no courage. You pray for you, woman. Don't be accomplice. Don't be accomplice with your spouse. But they feel so weak. They say, well, he's going to cheat on me. He's going to be mean all day and bad. He's in a bad mood. He says, you're always fertile. Every time I want to have a relationship with you, you tell me you're fertile. What's wrong with you? And blaming her and being mean to her. And then she doesn't want him to be angry or be mean, so she used contraceptives so he could have his sex when he wants, all he wants. And that's incredible abuse. Use her like a prostitute. No, use her like a friend. Sex is holy, and how God designed it is make us happy to have children. Our children become holy and they become saints. And we don't have sex every day like an animal. We control ourselves. And it's something beautiful. You know, I love pizza. Oh, I love pizza. You know, if I had my will, I'd pizza every day. But you know, I would be sick of pizza before 2 months. And you know what? I would become fat. I would become sick. So I make a sacrifice. And Jesus, please help me control. And he eat pizza twice a month. And you know what? When I have that pizza, oh, is it sweet? Is it good? And you know what? It doesn't cause me any bad health effects. Actually, it's good, the cheese and the bread for me, if I take it in not in great quantities. It won't hurt me. It actually helps me. And I look forward to have that pizza. And you mentioned the gift and beautiful your sex of your wife. That if you wait for a little while and you respect her as a friend, you're sweet to her and you love her and you just don't use her body for sex. So woman, you be courageous. You tell them, I'm not going to go to hell for you or lead you to hell. And if you go have sex with a woman, I want to make sure you take another test before I go to bed with you. You don't ever tell your husband you're going to sin with him. Never sin. So you guys learn natural family planning and never use contraceptives. And you pray for the people and you teach them and you evangelize how happy you are of spacing your children. And it works. It is effective. It's modern. And it's beautiful from God. Don't you be fools and use contraceptives. Many people will go to hell. St. John Vianney said there was a woman who came to him and says, Father, I have 6 kids. I can't take it no more. What am I going to do? And he says, well, you be strong in your faith and God will not abandon you. He gives you food. He gives you a house. He won't give you all the riches. there are many people in hell, women, who do not accept the children that they gave. So you accept your children, and God will be with you. So please, let us be people and give our kids life. Because that's the only thing we're taking to heaven. You're not taking your money to heaven. You're not taking any of your TVs, and your radios, and your cars, and your house. That's going to be destroyed rapidly. It's going to be from unholy. If you don't have a will, unholy people will come out of the woodwork at your funeral and say, where's the testimony? Well, he didn't leave any, and they'll all be fighting for their piece of the house that you worked all your life. The only thing you're taking to heaven is your children, who you put in the faith and love, that live virtue, lead other people to heaven. Their souls are mortal. So your children, you'll be open for children. You ask God for faith and love, and I pray for you, because how holy it is to see families. I see many families, not the majority, who have many big families, and they're holy families. So you have children, but you teach them. You educate your children. You read the commandments to them. And if your boyfriend or girlfriend doesn't want to learn their faith, how sad it's going to be, because it's the job of the man and woman. They both are getting their knees at night and they pray. They both go to confession. They both teach their kid their faith. It's not just the job of the woman, it's the job of the man. So both of them, and they don't agree with that. You accept that woman, young lady, if you marry that man, if you know he doesn't like to pray, he doesn't want to teach his children that, and he doesn't help you, don't cry, don't say, Father, I think he's unfaithful, I found lipstick, he comes home at night, he yells at me, he drinks a lot. Father, what am I going to do? Well, all I could say is accept it, because you know what? You married a man like that. You knew that he didn't like to pray. He never promised you. And so I thought he was going to change. Well, he did change. You thought right. But he changed the wrong way. So he has to have the basics. He doesn't have to be a saint when you marry him. She doesn't have to be a saint. But they want to be saints. They want to together love God and learn their faith and give that faith to God. Because you just don't have children and then let them live like monsters without any morals and values. We have many children in the streets now. Thank God they had children, but the parents are not married. The parents let them watch horrible things on TV, things from hell itself, violence, sex, murder, materialism, and these children are so blind in sin now, and these kids are murderers, they're thieves, they abort their babies, they turn to homosexuals, and the parents brought these kids up like that. Yes, it's the parents' fault in 95-99% of the times, because the parents didn't love the children. They never taught them. They never showed the love between two parents. And because of that, you got kids who are working for Satan, who are under the influence of Satan, who are destroying the world instead of bringing God's glory into the world and His love. So I'm begging you, you better marry someone who wants to be a saint. If not, it's better to be single. I know many girls or many guys who are single, and they sometimes look a little sad. I go, why are you sad? I go, Father, I never found anyone. He said, well, you know what? There are times we're all lonely. But you're a million times more happy to marry a man, to have sex with you, you're going to live like a slave. You're going to cook his meal. You're going to iron his clothes, clean his house, take care of his kids, be his servant, and all he's going to do is tell you what to do and have sex with you. That's it. What the hell on earth that would be. That's what the majority of women live right now. I'm telling you, I see them with my own eyes. I don't see many happy of them, and I feel so sorry for them. I mean, I can see how they despair and they commit suicide because it's a living hell for them. They married a man who didn't want to love God, and every man has an incredible evil in him, of incredible selfish, incredible lust, incredible greed. And if God is not intense in him, you'll be living with Satan himself. And I would be that to say, I'm no different than any of them. And if anybody says, I'm a nice man, I wouldn't do that, you would be so lukewarm and so cold. You won't have any love for God. Your kids will be atheists. Your kids won't live nothing for God. So please, you live, parents, for holy lives, and God will bless you. Let me finish with two things. Your spouse is there to give you joy. Adam was lonely and he had Eve. And so marriage is to make us happy, not the sad. Marriage, I see some parents, some couples are extremely happy, but they're the ones who read the Bible at night, those who go to retreats, those who continue to live their faith together and pray together, those who truly love God and go to the sacraments. You see joy in their eyes. They look like they're going out already, and they've been married 10, 15 years. Sometimes they go to a hotel and they're still young, and they go, oh, it's your honeymoon? I said, no, we've been married 15 years. because they love God. But most people who on honeymoons, only the ones that are showing happiness when they leave at a hotel. People are married, they yell, "Come on, honey, you're late." And they don't speak with love and respect because God's not in their lives. And they could tell these people have been married. So please, let us always remember that marriage is going to make you happy. And it will make you happy if you both totally give yourself to God. Totally. That you go to confession often. You go to communion often every 2 weeks. The confession, you communion. And you always pray every day together. And you always be romantic. You say words of love and kindness. And always with respect. Don't come home with a voice. Come a voice with love. And pray before you enter the house. Pray before you see your spouse. And God will make you very happy in your marriage. For marriage is a gift from God to give you joy on earth and to bring you to heaven. May God bless you.